Hey everyone, I wanted to give you a quick walkthrough of a slide deck presentation that I use for the SaaS agency hybrid model. This is probably one of the best structures that I've had inside the agency itself. I mean, the SaaS agency is something that is really, really powerful. It's incredible for intro offers. It's really, really consistent as well in monthly recurring revenue. It's also really, really easy to manage as well because if you obviously there's different softwares that you can white label in terms of the SaaS product itself. But if you use something like Go High Level, there are extensions in place where you can just have the fulfillment, the customer support all taken care of as well, and you basically have for about, I think the total cost, if you have the customer support and you have the Go High Level white label ability, you're looking at maybe like $700 a month for your total cost of fulfillment. For you could have 1,000 clients on it, you could have 10, you could have 20, up to 1,000, or probably even beyond 1,000, to be honest with you, as much as you want, really. And the cost never actually increases, which is an incredible thing when it comes to scale. Because if your cost never increases, then there's absolutely no reason as to why you can't scale. So if you're considering any form of agency, I'd highly encourage that you check out the SaaS agency. It's so powerful. I cannot recommend this model enough. It's really hands off. It gives you access to markets, gives you that perfect intro offer as well. And on top of that, it allows you to use something that we call the ladder funnel, right, for client acquisition. If you use the ladder funnel, you can spend on advertising, paid ads, Google PPC, Facebook ads, TikTok, whatever you want, without actually having to invest any capital, right? Well, what I mean by that, well, of course, you've got to have ad spend in place, but the reality is the ladder funnel works by immediate returns. So I break even on day one. And that means any revenue after that point, which is where the main source of the revenue is going to come from, is profit. Now, the difference is if you try to run paid ads for your agency, just flat out for SEO or PPC services or any of the service stack, you have to book the sales call, and then you've got to close that sales call. So there's a delay, there's risk in terms of that return. You've got to close the sale or it's not going to break even, let alone be profitable. So it's a bit more of a barriers to entry to get into that market. The ladder funnel brings that all forwards. Your return is basically immediate, and you've got qualified buyers in your pipeline all the time, meaning you can get out of the cycle of having to do prospecting. You start building your audience. When you start building your audience as an agency owner, your problems tend to disappear because new clients are an email away essentially, and it becomes a lot easier to run your business and continue growing. So the key components of the SaaS agency, why would you do this? Well, number one, it's easy for fulfillment. You can deliver really, really easily. You don't have to handle the customer support. And of course, it allows you to use the ladder funnel, the fastest way to bring new clients in. I use it all the time. It's the fastest way to bring new clients in, and you can access paid ads without having to actually, lump up lots of ad spend. You literally, if I spend $100 today on ads, I will make $100 plus back today, and I've just brought leads into my pipeline. They've pulled their credit card out, they're buyers, and they're ready to go. So there's serious prospects at that point. So that's why we run the SaaS agency. That's why it's such a powerful model, and that's something that you're going to consider. Now, one thing I wanted to show you here was this is a slide deck that we used, and I personally used myself to test this offer out. And we basically scaled this particular offer. It was a SaaS agency hybrid. So we offered a bit of lead generation plus SaaS software in the front, Go High Level in particular, to the insurance market. I had zero experience in the insurance market. Didn't have any contacts, nothing, no case studies, nothing. I did a beta test of this with a couple of clients, worked incredibly well. And then I started selling the offer. So obviously I went and got my case study, started selling the offer, and within the first, I think it was even like the first 2 weeks, we'd actually cracked the 10K monthly recurring revenue mark purely from the combination of using the sales funnel plus this slide deck in terms of the closing, and of course a sales script that we have as well. So I'm going to walk you through the slide deck itself. You can see what it looks like. Now, apologies, forgive me if there's any formatting issues. We built this slide deck on Google Slides, and I had to export it over to Canva to record this video so I could be on camera as well. So forgive me if there's any little formatting issues. That's what's going on here. So to begin with, we start off with our thesis, right? This is basically just explaining what we're doing to the insurance agent. So it happens to be reactivating your database, building powerful follow-up sequences, a consistent flow of new leads, that was a lead generation component, lead qualification mechanisms, automated appointment setting, consistency, and predictability. This was their complete sales system. So we were sending 500 exclusive leads per month for the products that they focused on and the demographics. And we used live transfer power dialers for sales boosts, because they tend to work, based on my market research, the insurance agents tend to work a lot of leads. They spend a lot of their time calling, working their pipeline. So this is I did some research in the market, obviously, as I'd encourage you to do, but this is what the result was. Database reactivation for your book of leads. A lot of them have a big list of prospects because they often buy leads as well. SMS and email follow-up to nurture prospects. A custom landing page and qualification funnel, basically an insurance-focused landing page. Social profile optimization, I'll come to that in a second. And asset creation for prospect nurturing. So how we did this initial offer was go high level in the back end, plus LinkedIn automation. So when I'm talking about social profile optimization here, I'm talking about LinkedIn automation, right? The viral LinkedIn content marketing process that we implement, where we create posts and also a bit of an asset, like a case study type thing for them, and run that through a LinkedIn automation. That's in the viral LinkedIn lead generation. That's what we're doing. So that's how we're getting those 500 leads every month. We're bringing 500 prospects into the pipeline every single month without fail. And there was also a little twist that I added onto this. Now, insurance, again, purely for market research, and this was something that developed after I had quite a lot of phone calls. To be perfectly honest with you, the phone calls I booked in for this were insane. I was getting, $20 per phone call. That was 25 Canadian, or whatever the exchange rate was, 25 Canadian dollars. It's roughly about 20 USD per phone call. In comparison, in other markets, I'm more than happy to pay $180 per sales call. So you can imagine how delighted I was that it was $25 per sales. It was insane. So I had lots and lots of phone calls as well. So in terms of the research that we ended up, obviously, I always mentioned that I listen to the prospects a lot more than I speak. So I'm actually gathering information, especially in the first couple of phone calls. So I'm gathering this information, I'm listening, and I hear that a lot of them like to buy leads. So they'll buy aged leads, old leads that exist, and they just run them through these sequences, right? And it produces business for them, gives them that pipeline. They usually spend the time calling these leads. But my thought process was, well, we can send them through the high-level automations and automate that entire process for them, and use the power dialer function to transfer live calls whenever someone picks up the phone. So this was like the perfect scenario. So what I did was, with the SaaS capabilities on this, I can add different pages in there. So I can actually add a particular, like a built-in embedded web page into the platform. So what I did was I added an outsourced aged leads service where I had a markup on it, obviously. So they would basically submit an order for aged leads. I would obviously white label that, take a markup on it, deliver the aged leads in 24 hours into their system, uploaded onto their CRM. Why? Well, because if it's uploaded, it's going to be sticky, because I'm basically putting their entire database onto my platform. So that made it really sticky. And I would upload the leads to the platform, and then they would get a fast start as well. Because a lot of people, you've probably heard, I follow quite a bit of Alex Hormozi, how it's so important to get a client a quick win with you, right? You want to have that win almost instantly. And the way I came out, I kind of worked that into the process was, if I can get them leads initially, like immediately, the order leads for a great price. It was something like $1 a lead or something like that for aged leads. It was nothing. They spent $100. Did like bundle deals, all that kind of stuff. If they spent $180 on leads, I could put 100. I think it was about 250 leads I gave them for that. Obviously the bundle, and I sent them straight into the sequences. They get a couple of phone calls. One thing that always stuck with me was Alex Hormozi said, if you can make the phone ring the second they sign on with you, right, they're going to be really happy and they're going to stick with you. So that's what we did. So we would make the phone ring instantly, because we're setting all these leads that they purchased through the sequence, and that would bring in business for them. Now, on top of that, we also, following on, this was the initial offer, so it kind of developed on from that, and I basically built a gift pack of leads into every client's sign-on bonus, right? So every time someone signed on, I would give them that bonus and get them that fast start, which was changed the game. It made it so much easier to acquire customers. It made it so much easier to make them happy and give them that fast, quick win. And it's something that, I encourage you to copy it, do it. It was fantastic. Then I kind of go into understanding the problem. So there's a significant amount of dead leads that are not actually dead, which is, so they just sit there stagnant on a spreadsheet. This, again, most industries suffer from this, but really the insurance space in particular is particularly bad for it. These leads are never monetized because it's extremely time consuming and mind numbing to follow up with them. The cost to generate new leads can be prohibitive, from monthly retainer fees to advertising spend, and this makes having a consistent flow of leads unsustainable. When leads do come in, if they don't close within the first few weeks, they're often left to stagnate and they're swept up by another agent somewhere else who was in the right place at the right time. It's often caused by follow-up because it's very time consuming, but it's extremely lucrative. So if we can solve that problem, you're not going to be losing business to other agents. That was essentially how we positioned it to them. And I would take them through this live on the call, mainly because, and the reason I say this, you might have heard me say before that with agencies, I don't really use slide decks. I don't go through presentations. I stick to solving the problem. When you get into this SaaS realm, people expect a demo really of how a system works, and they do expect a little bit more of a presentation. So even though I'm kind of on that line with agency SaaS hybrid, they still expect that presentation. So I built it. Then I give them the objective. If we can automate the follow-up process and constantly nurture leads that come through, we can stop the bleeding. So, the money falling out of the pipeline. This also means that any new leads that do come through are extremely efficient. They're never wasted, and we can ensure that you're always in the right place at the right time, rather than another agent striking it lucky with their timing and sweeping up the business. Again, works really well. Then I show them a diagram of what the process looks like. Now, this was something I didn't have in initially. This was actually based on the feedback from phone calls. So obviously within the first week, I had this in my process because they were asking me, what does, I understand, but what does it look like? I want to see a picture. Have you ever heard that from a client before on a call? What does it look like? I want to understand this. I want to see what it loots like. I want to, how can you show me what it looks like? And you sit there saying, well, I can't show you SEO. I can't show you paid ads. This is how we solve that problem. We actually show them what the process looks like. And it's really simple. It looks good, right? But, it's pretty simple. We have the new leads on the right-hand side pouring into the pipeline. We've got their existing leads from their database that we can pour in as well. Both of them go into the reactivation systems or the new lead system. Some immediately book in. Then they go into value-based sequences if they don't book in. And obviously then both of them go into a long tail sequence. It gives them that visual representation of what's going to happen. And this was killer. This worked really, really well because I think it just gave them that image in their head. Okay, I see how this all works. I feel as if I'm getting something here. And that was the difference. Then we discussed the new leads. Now, obviously, I told you I beta tested this as well. So this was information that I derived, and it was pretty good. Now, our leads are driven directly from your LinkedIn profile. We optimize your profile and build relationships with prospects, and it doesn't require any ad spend at all. Simply and Sales Navigator profile, again, no ad spend, big selling factor. The leads that are driven from LinkedIn are normally of a much higher quality than other sources because as much as you can't financially qualify someone, you almost can, right? You can get a lot closer based on their job profile, their job description, their history. And if they were going for life insurance, they could get high incomes. It made sense for them. So obviously the diagram here, again, it puts it into context, 500 new leads every month, 10 immediate appointments booked. That was our target. I would always, like I always say, that's our target. That's our ideal. That's what we're aiming for. And the rollover. Now, what I mean by rollover appointments is when you're using follow-up systems, whether it's with a SaaS agency, a follow-up agency, or whatever, email marketing, leads that are poured into the pipeline work in a snowball function, right? They build up and up and up and up, especially when we send them through the long tail value sequences here, right? The long tail follow-up. We're pouring more and more and more into that pipeline every single month and delivering value and autopilot, and then they start to filter through. They start to move closer to that decision, and they filter through into becoming a buyer. And that's where the rollover appointments start to snowball and come into play. Then, of course, hitting the nail on the head, $0 spent on advertising, a complete no-brainer. And they always ask me, again, this was derived from conversations. What products can we sell with this? Now, this is just objection handling. You can target different markets for different products, whether that is the final expense, mortgage protection, or even enterprise level, that, like life plans for companies. The targeting is precise. We can also adjust the targeting based on your ideal market, whether that's local, nationwide, or both. The follow-up system can be customized to fit each product individually. Again, this is objection handling. These are the questions that they ask, and that's basically just taking that question of, oh, we don't do our products, out of the problem. Then we kind of bring it into life at this point. The follow-up system is your rainmaker. The power is in the follow-up. Most agents only convert the business that books an appointment and closes immediately, the low-hanging fruit. Our systems nurture prospects with SMS, custom voicemails, and email campaigns. You don't have to lift a finger. 90% of people will respond to a text message or read a text message. That's just real. 70% will show up for an appointment simply because of the follow-up, the pre-appointment automations we have in place. Again, that has been tested across thousands of appointments as accurate, and it's all to do with the calendar automations. Unlimited products and campaigns, a benefit of our service. We don't limit that because it's really easy for us to deliver on it. And a 10% increase in average booking rate from 5 to 10%. Or can't quite read that. The screen's really small for me. But what I'm looking at here is just what does that booking rate look like with the automations in place, that follow-up system in place. We're basically taking the conversion rate from 5% to 10% based on the fact that a lead can come in, doesn't have to convert immediately. They can convert in the snowball that I mentioned, the follow-up sequences, and that boosts the conversion rate quite significantly. Then I give them a little insight into the platform, built-in CRM system. So the IA platform comes with a built-in CRM, which can track all your deals, the value of your pipeline, outline your conversion rates, from closing rate all the way to appointment booking, and areas of improvement at a glance. It's going to allow you to easily keep track of your pipeline and call leads that are almost to a close at the click of a button. So it makes it easier for them. A lot of agents, I found out from the market, again, I'm not even based in the US. I knew nothing about the US insurance market, literally nothing. I learned what the different insurance products were on the phone calls. And, I found out they all use these CRM systems so heavily, and they love them. They love and hate them at the same time, and they're willing to pay for it. So that's a huge benefit, and that's something I really wanted to get in there. So I simplify the process. Number one, we're going to reactivate your database. It's going to drive instant revenue. So again, short, quick wins that have just been gathering dust. Then we go into the power dialer. So we can drive immediate sales spike by utilizing the power dialer and a live transfer system, which makes, when they're traditionally using a dialer or power dialer, even they're usually dialing the number every time, waiting, it rings out, put the phone down, dial the next number, waiting again. The power dial doesn't work like that. It calls all the leads and then only connects you when someone is actually on the phone, so you can do whatever you want. Then we go into the 500 new prospects. So that's turning the tap on with the leads. Every month we generate 500 new prospects, which are sent through our system to book appointments. Now, a lot of people will say, well, did you guarantee 500 leads? No, we didn't. We never guarantee anything. But what we're saying here is, like, every month we're going to pour 500 people through our automations into your pipeline. They might not convert month 1. They might convert month 4, 5, 6. But the reality is, if we do this every single month, by month 10, you're not converting 4, 5, 6. You're converting 20 because it builds up and up and up. So that's the idea. We're not offering guarantees here because that's not possible. But I'm being a very, very straightforward business owner with it. And I'm saying, look, it's going to take hard work, but this is a long-term play. And obviously the SaaS model works perfectly because there's going to be retention there. And this is how it's going to work. I tell them how it's going to, I don't ask them or kind of, beat around the bush. I tell them what's going to happen, setting the expectations, and it makes a big, big difference. Then we've got the follow-up. So the system will follow up with every prospect, regardless of the source, personally, and it will book appointments. They also have direct access through our portal. So you have login information where you can readily view all of your stats. You can have two-way conversations, text them back and forth with their leads. You can have phone calls in real time, and you don't have to juggle 10 different softwares. Again, a common problem in the space. And they'll also track their conversations for them. So our thesis and the numbers, so I'm giving them a bit of an example here. So you have an existing database of 500 leads, sending them through our system with a booking rate of 5%. means you're going to have 25 phone calls. Again, forgive me, the way Canva works, the text is really small for me, so if I'm squinting, I do apologize. And you've got a commission rate of $800 and a close rate of 35%. Again, real numbers taken from prospects. If 70% of the leads show up to calls, that's 17 calls, and at a 35% close rate, that's six sales with a commission rate of $800. Sorry, it is really, really small. That's $4,800 from nothing, right? Now, again, I had agents tell me they close 90%, 80%. You just got to get on the phone with someone, they'll close them. That's all BS. But, 35% was a pretty good average number for them. And they agreed with that as well. And then the process continues, booking just 2% and the snowball over and over and over again. And then that's just their existing leads. I haven't even moved on to, and I'll make that point in the pitch, I haven't even moved on to the leads that we provide. That's just your existing business. Then we start the lead flow. Booking around about 10 calls per week. Again, this is just a lot of averages. We know it's going to do that. And that's how it works. Again, we're just breaking down the numbers. So it's super simple. I'm giving them the fast win. Here's how simple it is using just, forget our leads, just what you have right here. That's what's going to happen. Now, what happens when we pour gas on the fire, right? And make it go even faster with our leads. And that's it. Then I just give them a really clear, here's what the revenue from that previous example would look like. Here are the numbers. And that's just with basic numbers as well. So I really put it into light. Now, the reason I'm doing this, right, is what does that add up to? Like $12,800. Well, again, across the board, across the few different things there. I'm price stacking here, right? For $12,800 after month one. I'm saying that's what your return would look like. Here's the price, right? $997 per month. Now, this was an initial 3-month term with $0 in ad spend, and we also waived the $2,000 setup fee. Now, in the sales scripts that we have that go alongside these things, what we do is, I'm not saying like we've got a 3-month minimum term. What I'm saying is, look, we want to build trust with you. We're not going to ask you for a work with you for a year. You got to commit for 12 months for us. No, not at all. We're going to get to know each other over the first 3 months, and that's it. So I'm looking for 3 months, work together, see if we like each other, if we're successful together, and then we can progress from there. So I'm basically downselling the 3 months, and that kind of gets you out that what's a minimum 3-month term. I'm nervous about that. I'm making it a no-brainer because I started off at 12 months, right? That's what I expect people at, and I'm bringing them down to 3 to settle the nerves. That's it. And then I'm just bringing it into reality here. If you close one single deal from either the 500 leads every month or one single deal from our follow-up systems, you're likely to be profitable. That's one single deal during the entire month. You could probably do that and take the remainder of the month off. And I'm playing here because they're all quite arrogant and cocky. So I'm kind of playing on their arrogance a little bit. Absolutely, I'll close one deal easily. So that's kind of what I'm playing on there. I usually make them laugh. The return on investment with our system is extremely high. And I'm just summarizing it again: database reactivation, power dialer, live transfers, proven SMS and email follow-ups, stealth mode and voicemail drops, custom qualification landing page, social profile optimization, CRM system with pipeline management, and a waived setup fee of $2,000. And that's it. That's the slide deck we would take them through. That's how we do it. Very, very straightforward and simple. Nothing crazy happening here. Super straightforward. Worked incredibly well. Feel free to use this as an example in what you're doing. The insurance market is awesome for this. It's unbelievable. The sales, I cannot express. We turned the ads off. We spent 2 weeks. I said we hit the 10K MRR mark in about 2 weeks, I think it was. We turned the ads off because it was too many phone calls. And we had that pipeline building up of, 2-call closes or whatever it may be, all because of this process. So it worked incredibly well. I'd highly encourage you to look at this. And as you can see, it's not really that, that complicated. So hopefully that helps. And let me know if you get any questions. Happy to help you. And let's kill it.